Hey loungers, Kolz here. Today I'm going to be going through every hero forge in the game. And while some of them will be pretty quick, considering they don't have a forge, I'm going to pay particular attention to the most important heroes. Those heroes that benefit most from their forge. As it turns out, a high level forge can make or break a hero. They can go from a useless shelf hero to one of the best heroes in the game simply by leveling up their forge. Now, forges are expensive, and you don't want to waste super tokens on a hero that you'll never actually use. Therefore, I'll give you a sense of which heroes I would personally invest in, because it turns out some heroes don't even get strong with a 5-star forge. And I'm Kolz, a high-level HVH player. You can sign up for my Patreon for entries in a monthly HVH giveaway, or become a member here on YouTube for the same privileges. I'll add chapters for each of the heroes, and I'll try and do them in order in which they appear in the shop, so you can skip ahead, if needed, to your particular hero of choice. But let's jump into it. Right off the bat, we got the Arcane one for the Arcane Mage. So, given what I know about the Arcane Mage, you want to go right for projectiles, left for stun, and then right for penetration. Her big thing is she can't hit a lot of horde at once, so anything that lets you hit more horde is better for her. Knight has one of the better forges in the game. If you want to clear hard mode, you need a 4-star Knight. I go area of effect or crit, depends on whether or not you want to do single target or multi-target damage. Bleed is great later in the game, slow is great earlier in the game. Rune Sword is a fantastic evolution, and I go for area of effect. You're not going to need that much cooldown, but you might need it early in the game before you hit the caps for all the game modes. Next up, the Hunting Bow for Dark Ranger. Instant kill is good early, critical hit is good late, projectiles good all the time, cooldown good early. Oh, he gets bleed. That's cool. I would go +5 chance % enemies to explode, take bleed here, multi-shot, and sharpshooter. Tinkerer and Mines. So I go single target, you're looking for more damage to stunned and for more damage down here. I would probably not go status effect duration. Bigger explosions at stun, that's actually a nice evolution. And then area of effect is better for game modes where you need to hit more horde. Fire Staff for the Fire Wizard. So I think the ideal one for the Fire Wizard is to go with all projectiles. So I would go +2 projectiles here, more damage here, you don't really need the cooldown, and then more projectiles here. The way projectiles work, it's going to be basically like an amp to damage versus an area of effect, which is just going to hit more horde. And I think you're going to hit enough horde that I would just go for the more projectiles, especially if you have 5-star. All right, Ice Gauntlets for the Ice Wizard. Interesting, I don't have anything for him yet. 5% freeze chance, 10% area of effect, 5% freeze chance, status effect duration, so longer freezes. An Ice Elemental issue, that's cool. Hailstorm +5 projectiles, that's a lot. Minus 40% cooldown. That's enormous % cooldown reduction. I think I would go chance to freeze, and then more projectiles. That'll maximize your damage. Katanas for the Blademaster. Blademaster, you want crit and cooldown, so more projectiles, more area of effect. Both these are good. I think projectiles probably does more damage. Instant kill chance or critical hit. Take the critical hit there. Area of effect or critical strike chance. Late in the game, you're going to have so much crit chance, you're just going to take the area of effect here. These are actually pretty sad. If you compare these to the evolution path for Knight, he's just not getting much benefit here from the Forge. That said, you don't really need the Forge for Blademaster, so. Spirit Shaman. What do these do? Spirit Beast plus movement speed. Cool. Spirit Beast, area of effect. I didn't know they had an area of effect. Guardian Domain. So I actually like this one, the Spirit Beast teleport back to you. This will make the pets take the aggro away from the horde, which is helpful. So if you ever get this guy all the way forged up, I would go Venomous Strike, Guardian Retreat, and then probably actually Beastly Domain. You could do Feral Fury for more damage, and then this is more for survivability. Paladin and the Holy Hammer. For Paladin, you're looking for as much AoE as possible, and ideally to hit as many horde as possible. So let's see what we got. 1.1 times damage. Yes, all day, every day. Area of effect versus more projectiles. So it depends on where you are in the game. Area of effect will probably be better early. More projectiles will make you do more damage later. And then if you want to do single target, again, versus multi-target. Tyr's Scorcher. Lightnings have a 25% chance to leave a burning area. Let's see what this one is. Lightnings have a 50% chance to stun enemies for 10 seconds. You'll get burning elsewhere. I'm probably going Slowing Shock here, Earthquake, and Mighty Strike. Reaper. If I ever get this guy, I'll have 4,400 tokens for him. Alright, plus area of effect. So you definitely want bleed there. Cooldown. Damage to bleeding. Yes, please. And then at level 5, the Soul Harvest has 50% chance of slowing enemies. Soul Harvest has 25% chance of making enemies bleed. So you're already getting bleed. So I'm going slow here, bleed here, and open wounds there. Pretty straightforward. Yeah, Reaper seems like a cool hero. Pirate Queen. For Pirate Queen, you want projectiles and projectile speed. Effect duration also works well. Projectile speed here, projectiles there, more projectiles there, and fast rounds. I'm overstocked on projectiles and projectile speed. I could see there's probably effect duration is probably similar, but projectile speed makes it look more fun, and more projectiles is always more fun. Warlock. Warlock's actually a super strong late game. A lot of his forge improves how his curses interact with all of his skills and his weapons, making him one of the early heroes that accidentally got skill buffs from the forge, and that makes him incredibly strong, particularly when you get his skills leveled up. You're going with the cooler ones, so you're going Curse Swarm, Demonic Frenzy, and then this would probably have to take a little bit of testing. My guess is that the Portal is probably going to be better, but I am unsure, and you need to test that one. Barbarian, just got him up to 5 stars. Level 1, I would go Fierce Strike for the increased damage. At level 2, Torrential Assault would give you more consistent damage, and Wild Rampage would give you more spiky damage when you hit Rage. I think the Rage hits so much harder, it's worth getting those 4 additional points in it. And again, this is another hero that benefited from a Forge interacting with his skills early in the game before I think they knew exactly how that would work, and that's why he was so strong for so long. Bloody Fang gives them Bleed, and this one gives them a slow. I go Bleed all day, every day for the increased damage. Big Game Hunter? Big Game Hunter is so much fun in Boss Brawl. Even at like before his Forge, he was great, and even with his limited Forge, he's actually like one of my top heroes for Boss Brawl. So I have high hopes for him when I get him all the way up to 5 stars. Down at the bottom, 1.1 times damage or 2 projectiles. Projectiles generally will give you a little bit more, I think, than 1.1 damage, but it depends on your game state. At level 2, you can get Toxic Bullets for poison, or you can get more kickback for pushback. I would personally go with poison. Deer Stand gives you bigger dead zone area, and Bear Trap stuns any horde that go in that area. I would go Deer Stand most of the time for more damage, although Bear Trap could be helpful in modes where you need the stun horde. I've already seen a pretty decent increase in the Big Game Hunter's damage just going from 0 to 3-star Forge, so I imagine the 4-star Forge would be another bump, but I'm not sure, and this is again focused only on Boss Brawl. Clockwork Mage is my favorite all-around hero. She's strong from as soon as you get her until the end of the game. Looking at her Forge, early on you take the increase to damage. At level 2, you can either take Area of Effect or more projectiles. Area of Effect if you need to hit more horde, and projectile if you need to hit fewer horde more often. Chrono Blades is a big spike in damage, so going from 3 to 4-star for her is a pretty big spike. Getting those blades out and onto the battlefield will help you do considerable amount more damage in normal mode and your hard mode push. However, problem is late game at like the end of Nightmare mode and hard mode arena, you're never going to get to evolve her weapon because you don't take cooldown. Same thing in Hero Clash. This kind of feels like a wasted tome. At 5, you either get Bleed or more Area of Effect for the Flying Disc. I went Bleed for more damage. However, I saw a negligible increase in her damage with the 5-star Forge, and it's not something you really need to push for. Even in hard mode arena, it didn't help me all that much. Monk. Monk is a classic example of where a hero goes from almost unusable to one of the better heroes, particularly for pushing hard mode once you get his 4-star Forge. At level 1, you get more projectiles or area of effect. Level 2, more pushback or more damage. War Staff is when he really gets going. The way he works is he's able to proc his skills the more times his War Staff hits enemies. And that's why War Staff is so important, because now his projectiles get more range and they bounce off the side of walls, meaning they'll hit more horde, letting you proc all of his other skills more frequently, including his ultimate. And again, the reason why these heroes are really strong is because of the way their Forge interacts with their skills, and they did this by accident on these early heroes, and they do it much more intentionally now. Level 5, you get effect duration or projectile speed. I think this is a wash. I want projectile speed here. Tide Warden. For the Tide Warden, I think it's pretty straightforward. I would go Tidal Zone. You can kind of just pick which one you want here, Water Destruction or Aqua Spray. And then Icy Water's 1.25 damage to Frozen. If you can get Frozen, that's a massive multiple. So that looks very tempting, and then damage to Slowed is probably more consistent, but a less spiky high damage. Assassin is great without a Forge, he gets stronger with it. At level 1, I went for Area of Effect from Venom Wheel. At level 2, you can go either way, damage to bleeding or chance to double the amount of projectiles. The way math works, I think bleeding buff is always better than doubling the projectiles. I think it's just a straight 3% increase, and this is a 5% increase to bleeding. So you want bleedy buff. Chakram adds another flying Chakram. I don't know how to control this thing yet, so I have not seen a big boost in his damage. I've actually been massively disappointed in getting this 4-star Forge for Boss Brawl. I saw basically no improvement in damage going from 3-star to 4-star Forge, which is kind of disappointing. Level 5, you get an extra Chakram, or the Chakram does bleed damage every second. I imagine the Sharp Chakram is the way to go for a single target, and extra Chakram is better for multi-targets. Frost Queen. The Frost Queen, if you get her, get this 3-star Forge, it's fantastic. You're never really going to use her for much, so I'll just briefly go through it. Snowstorm, plus 25% area of effect, or Ice Pillars. Each icicle has a chance to emit icy spikes in a circle around the area of impact. That looks cool. I go Ice Pillars with Frost Sting, and then probably Ice Sting. She's a fun hero. She just doesn't do a lot of damage, unfortunately. That 3-star Forge, though, is real big. Oracle. Oracle is super strong with an increased Forge. Get her to a 4-star Forge, and she'll do enough damage to clear out all of hard mode. At level 1, you can get more damage or Effect Duration. Effect Duration is really strong on Oracle because it leaves her orbs out longer to do more damage. So you want to go Effect Duration there. Damage to stunned or projectile speed. Projectile speed get her orbs out faster, so that's probably slightly better. Depends on whether or not you can actually stun Horde. The reason why Prophecy Orb is so great is it connects all of the orbs together. Part of the reason why Effect Duration is strong, and they also are doing consistent damage over time. So getting the 4-star is a big bump up in damage for her, and then I would go left for Orb Mastery and for more links. All that AoE damage is going to make a big difference. Artificer. Artificer's another guy who gets a tremendous benefit to his skills from his Forge. At level 1 is Critical Strike or Projectile Speed. Projectile Speed is his big thing, let's go that way. Sharp Blades for more damage or Blade Surge. And this is it right here. So the first time you'll actually see a skill written into the Forge. Increase the chance to spawn additional blade by 1000%. Those blades are how you proc his skills, and so they're really important to have, and that's why he gets to do so much damage with his Forge. Energetic Discharge is a really big increase in damage, and then Static Conduit just leaves it on all the time. So Static Conduit with Blade Surge and Zeal is how I would Forge Artificer most of the time. People can actually clear a lot of Nightmare mode based purely on Artificer's massive amount of AoE damage. Next up is Santa. Santa is a lot of fun. You really want to get his 3-star Forge for the key chance. And then you can push to his 4- and 5-star Forge if you want to try and progress with him so you can like get that key chance as you're progressing. But those will kind of be wasted, and 5,000 super tokens are a lot to kind of waste, so I wouldn't recommend pushing past his 3-star Forge. At 1 and 2, I go for Area of Effect and for more damage. Gift Blaster does amp his damage pretty substantially and will let you clear out harder chapters with Santa. They get really goofily big snowballs with level 5 Snowball Cascade or Gifted Fury. Dragon Empress's Forge is coming soon, and we're going to hit that point now where they decided not to give a bunch of new heroes Forges upon release, which was a lame part of HVH history. The Dark Paladin gets incredibly strong with his Forge. He's one of those heroes that's relatively weak without it, but incredibly strong with it. And again, it's because of the way his weapon and skills interact with the Forge. At level 1, you want more projectiles. At level 2, you want souls have a 100% chance to burn for 1000%. Level 1, you want more projectiles. At level 2, you're going to want, I would go with 100% chance for freeze most of the time. That's what makes him so strong is this freeze. Soul Vortex is a big amp to damage, and then gets really strong with Haunt, which gives each one of these souls a chance to slow. So you get the freeze from Eithras and then the slow from Haunt, and the Horde can never get to you. It's why Dark Paladin is so strong in hard mode arena, nightmare mode, and hero clash. Next up is Rocket Pilot. Rocket Pilot's not the strongest hero, but he's so much fun to play. At level 1, I go with Incinerate for the chance of damage. Level 1, I go with Incinerate for burning damage. At level 2, more damage amp to burning. And then at level 5, you can either leave behind damaging area, good for something with a lot of Horde, or Catpocalypse if you want to do single target damage. Next up is Leprechaun. The Leprechaun's Forge is actually pretty fun, and it seems like it should do a decent amp to his damage. At level 1, you're going more Area of Effect most of the time. At level 2, late in the game, you probably don't need all that Critical Strike, and instead can get this buff to your 4 times the Critical Strike. Coin Woven Barrier is pretty cool. Every time you clear Horde, you gain a shield, which can be really helpful in Nightmare mode and for some other modes. And then 4-Leaf Fury just lets you do more damage via an increased chance of Critical Strike. So Leprechaun can actually put out pretty substantial damage just at base. Getting this all the way up to 5-star would let you progress pretty far in the game, probably clear out all of hard mode and a whole bunch of Nightmare mode with Leprechaun, which is nice for gold farming. Rose Mother is all about bleeds and slows, so I would go damage to bleeding at level 1. I would go poison enemies are also slowed, and then grow faster for more damage. Bleeding Thorn seems like it might be a little bit redundant, although you might get additional damage from that 360-degree shot. Next up is Bunny. Bunny just recently got his Forge, and they improve his skills, so they do make him do a whole butt-ton more damage. Level 1, you want to do a little bit of testing to see which one does more damage in your game state, projectiles or damage. Level 2, either do more damage or you do reduce swipe this cooldown. You want that reduce swipe this cooldown. Again, that's a skill, meaning you'll do a whole ton more damage with swipe this. And then at level 5, you can get Egg Strike to again increase the damage of swipe this, or Golden Support, which turns Bunny golden and has him do a bunch more damage. I don't know off the top of my head which one of these is stronger. You're gonna have to do a little bit of testing. Again, anything that improves the skill is usually the way to go, but Golden Support sounds pretty cool. All right, and now we got the most important Forge in the game for Warlord. Warlord is super game mode dependent. You're going to do a lot of switching in this Forge depending on which game mode you're playing. To maximize your single target damage for something like Boss Brawl, you go Bleed Punisher, Brutal Force, and Quad Strike. That Quad Strike, all 4 of them can hit the same target, meaning you'll do a whole ton of damage to the boss. For other game modes like Nightmare Mode where you want to survive and do a bunch of AoE damage continuously, then I go Bleed Punisher with Lifestealer and Bloodbath. Bloodbath does an incredible amount of damage if you can get it to spawn and then hit other hordes. Super great for hard mode arena and for Nightmare Mode. Lifestealer is the infamous Nerf Lord, where it used to be 5%, and now having had this, if this was 5% health, he would be literally unkillable. So he needed that nerf, because 1% is already strong, 5% would have been stupid. And the big thing here is it procs off of Wide Swing, and Wide Swing, the more times you get hit, reduces the cooldown of it, meaning you get to heal more often. And that's why he was so strong in Nightmare Mode, because you get hit all the time by relatively weak horde, and then just heal it back up via Lifestealer. The reason why he does so much damage is in Quad Strike and Bloodbath. For whatever reason, the damage multiple here are just stupid, and you will get an insane amount of damage from going from 3 to 4 star and then 4 to 5. Like, it's stepwise jumps in damage. This is the most important forge in the game. He's basically unusable until you get 4-star forge. After that, he's your strongest hero. And it's why everyone that says there isn't a tier list, but then also immediately says Warlord's the best hero, makes no sense logically. Next up is Hoplite. Hoplite's got a great 3-star forge, that's what you really want here. I would go Spear Barrage and Bleeding Edge, and then at level 4, you throw 3 big spears in a cone. This guy is just like, in level 5, throw 1 spear instead with 50% increased damage, enemies hit are exposed. Oh, I didn't know that. Very rarely in the game do you see the word exposed. And then Explosive Spear. Throw 5 spears instead, the first impact causes an explosion for 700% damage. Hoplite's good in modes where you have to hit a lot of horde because of the way his shield bounces around all the place, but there are other stronger heroes in the warrior faction, so you don't use him all that often, and it's more for this 3-star global. That's fantastic. Druid. Druid is the king of Boss Brawl, and it's a combination of his forge and his skills. At level 1, you get ultimate activation requirement reduction or area of effect. At level 2, you get more damage or more critical hit chance. Depends on your game state, which one will be better there. Then at level 5, you get Stunning Fruits, which cause the tree to stun, or Withering Curse, which causes the tree to do damage over time. Withering Curse is the really big one for Boss Brawl. This combined with the exposed from his skills at higher levels is what makes him so strong. If you want to top the charts in Boss Brawl, getting him and Bunny up to 5-star Forge is how you do it. Necromancer. At this point in the Forge, we're going to start seeing a lot more skills and mechanics built into the Forge instead of just all those straight damage or projectile speed amps. 15% effect duration is great for keeping your minions out longer, and increased minion health will also keep them out longer. Haste of the Dead, increased minions movement speed by 10%, or Vast Acropolis, increased minions attack area by 10. Worm's Fury causes the Necromancer to spawn more minions, which is great. And then Minion Master is lame because it gets rid of the worm, but it will increase the damage of all your other minions. I would personally go Worm's Fury, Fast Necropolis, and Sturdy Undead. Geomancer doesn't have a forge. He's a really fun hero though, and his skills are persistent, particularly his ultimate, which makes him pretty fun. Energy Mage, some fantastic globals, but is missing a forge. Sentry Specialist. Sentry Specialist I thought would be awesome at 5-star Forge, and she's not. Don't waste super tokens on the Sentry Specialist unless you have her at 5 stars. At 5 stars, the cooldown in her skills is so high that she can actually start to put out a tremendous amount of damage. But before that, even at 4 stars, the cooldown isn't high enough that you won't do any significant damage with Sentry Specialist. So I don't recommend getting this 5-star Forge until very late in the game. At level 1, you can either get more health or more damage. I went for more damage. And then at level 2, you can either get Burning or a chance to stun. I go Burning. Tesla Sentries are 3 additional sentries that you get added to the battlefield that link together with electricity. Random Bolt has them all attack one target, and then Tesla Boost just increases all of their damage a lot. Werebeast, he's my current project. I'm working on getting him up to 5-star Forge for Dragon Tower. At level 1, you get more damage or more area of effect. Level 2, more damage or damage to bleeding. You don't get bleeding until you have his Mooncharged Claws in his kit, so it's good once you have Mooncharged Claws, and it's bad before that. Mooncharged Claws give him additional damage, and then at level 5 you get Pack Ambush for a whole bunch of wolves, or Howling Tower for one bigger wolf. I'm not sure exactly which one of these will be stronger at the end of the day. Astral Mage. If you get her up to 5-star Forge, she can beat the game. Ex-Ghetto in my guild use a 5-star Forge Astral Mage and beat every game mode. At level 1, you either get more damage and more area of effect. Level 2, reduce cooldown or effect duration. You want effect duration here. That'll keep her portals out on the battlefield longer, allowing for more damage when she ultimates. and her ultimate is her really big source of damage. It's how she massively spikes up her damage. Infinite Void literally says that, where your weapon will now start increasing the number of portals and increases their damage with effect duration and damage. And then Nova Pulse and Galactic Expansion are two different ways to up the Astral Mage's damage depending on whether or not you want to use her Void areas or just her main weapon with the Galactic Expanse. Next up is Void Raven, who isn't very good, but is a lot of fun in Faction Wars, and could maybe eventually be good in Boss Brawl if she ever gets a Forge. Shield Warden, great for clearing out Nightmare mode, not so great in Boss Brawl as I learned this week. No Forge for the Scroll Sage, she doesn't deserve one. Lionheart could be fun if they gave him a Forge, but he doesn't have a Forge, so don't use him. Steam Golem has no Forge. Bavarian has no Forge. Pumpkin Shade has no Forge. Crystal Mancer has no Forge. Circuit Breaker, no Forge. Glacial Sentinel, no Forge. This was a nice little run here. They actually didn't give Werebeast and Astral Mage Forges upon release. So ignoring Sentry Specialist, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 heroes in a row that didn't have a Forge. That was a sad time in Heroes vs. Hordes. Oof. Then they came out with Nutcracker around Christmas time, and he has a Forge. And this Forge is pretty fun, but it hasn't amped his damage up enough to make him viable, at least for me. At level 1, you get more area of effect or more damage. At level 2, you get a stun or more damage. And then at level 5, you get Praise the Nut and Unbreakable Nuts. Unbreakable Nuts, again, interacts with his Walnut skill, so that might actually be pretty strong. I have not seen anybody talk about his level 5 Forge. His level 4 and 5 might give him a pretty nice amp to damage, but you're not really going to use him all that much, and so I wouldn't put a high priority on it. Next up was Runemaster. They went right back to not giving people Forges, but then they came back with Snake Emperor, and he's got a Forge. Snake Emperor is actually pretty strong. A lot of people in my guild got him and forged him up to level 4 or 5, and he does a solid amount of damage. His whole thing is poison, so he's going to be poisoning enemies all over the place. At level 1, you get a big amp to poison damage, which is nice. And then you get Penetration at level 2. Penetration is one of the stronger talents in the game, so I would go with that. Jade Fang is actually a nice boost to damage. And then at level 5, you can either get a slow or just amp your damage even more. I wouldn't make him a top priority. There are going to be other heroes like Artificer and Oracle that benefit more from a Forge. But if this is all you got, he's worth starring up. Echo. Echo's name in the game file is Shadow Phantom, which is way better than Echo, and then they should rename her to that. Her phantoms are her skills, so I would go with Phantom Frenzy here, probably Spectral Shade here, and then Fan of Daggers here. Echo's ultimate is so wonky that you don't really ever use her for anything, but I think to amp her damage the most, focus on her interaction with phantoms. Bombardier! One of the best heroes for his globals. You don't really see that many people leveling up his Forge. These first 2 levels of the Forge are just basic damage amps, so see which ones works best for you. You get Bouncing Grenades at 4, having his grenades bounce around, and level 5, you can either have them bounce more or bounce less for more damage individually. If you're going to be fighting fewer Horde, then you want fewer bounces for more damage, and more Horde, you want them to bounce more. Next up is Plaguekeeper. Plaguekeeper, I think, is actually sleeper OP. He's one of these heroes where if you can get him up to a high skill level with a high Forge, he'll actually start putting out a ton of damage. While levels 1 and 2, you're basically just playing around with maximizing your damage, the big jump here is at 4-star Forge. Chaos Plague will significantly increase the amount of damage of the Plaguekeeper. And then at level 5, Corrosive Toxins increase the amount of poison damage and its area, or Overflowing Flask leaves behind vials that do a whole ton of damage. I've seen Plaguekeeper put up some pretty solid numbers in Boss Brawl and clear out all of Hard Mode and all of Nightmare Mode with a 5-star Forge. So you can make him your main hero and he'll clear out all of Hard Mode and a good chunk of Nightmare Mode for you. Next up is Blossom Ronin. Level 1, area of effect or cooldown, again depends on your game state. Level 2, he's got Exposed, so I would probably go with that most of the time, over this chance to slow. At level 4, you get a big amp to damage with Petal Forge Katana. And then at level 5, you can either start adding a whole ton of bleed damage or increase the number of dashes that he does. Again, you're going to want to increase the dashes in modes where you have to hit a lot of Horde, and you want to do Scarlet Bloom when you're trying to hit less Horde for significantly more damage. Meaningful decisions are part of what makes Heroes vs. Hordes so much fun. Trapper. I really like Trapper. At this point now, Freywind went all in into having you choose how to impact skills via the Forge. So you're gonna have to do a little bit of testing, and you can usually pick which one is better for your game mode. At level 1, you either get more Caltraps or more Bear Traps. Bear Traps I think are for disruption, Caltraps are for damage. At level 2, you either get Flame Scatter for a bigger explosive trap or Pack Hunter for more Bear Traps. Flame Scatter will be better in modes where you can actually cast your ultimate, and Pack Hunter is better in other modes. At level 4, you get Spike Trap, which is just another trap on the battlefield. And you can either choose to have it bleed or poison. I would typically go with bleed because you can get poison elsewhere in your kit. Next up is Easter Guardian. I forgot that he existed. At level 1, you get to figure out how to increase his damage. At level 2, you get Accelerate or Reduced Cooldown. Accelerate looks like a lot more fun and impacts his skills, so I would go with that. And at level 5, you get Yolk Storm or Nest Blessing. Next Blessing is better for AoE, and York Storm again is better for doing more damage to fewer Horde, which is the basic decision you get at a lot of the 5-star forges. Next up is Stormborn and the Charged Axe. Again, you're going to get a lot of decisions up this tree. At level 1, you get more Electric Cleave, or Electric Cleave can now stun. Stunning enemies is big for him because that's how he procs a lot of his damage. But hitting more with Electric Cleave is more consistent damage. Frequent Discharge will allow his skill with a shield to proc more often, allowing you to do more damage, but you're going to have to juggle that without dying. And then Enhanced Guard lets you get more of the shield each time, which will help you survive better, but do less damage. Again, a great choice. At Forge level 4, you get Storm Splitter, which is a big amp to your damage, assuming you can clear Horde. At level 5, you either get big AoE damage or big single target damage. The issue here is you do have to be able to clear Horde for this to work, so it makes it really strong in hard mode arena, and in nightmare mode, it'll make it less strong in boss brawl or hero clash where there are fewer Horde to deal with. The Slime Sage. Alright, he's not a very good hero. The way his forge works is just improving his slime, which is his core damage mechanic, so anything that increases slime is generally better. Level 1, you get a higher chance for slime, or the slime doing more damage. At level 2, you can either make his ultimate stronger with Splitidus, or you can make his sludge pool stronger with Gloopy Grasp. Man, the words on this hero are just ridiculous. He's a lot of fun conceptually, and too bad he's not very strong. Glue Apocalypse will help you spread slime faster. Level 5 is Mini Fastidious, which gives you a little Mini Fastidious at the end of a Glue Apocalypse cast, which could amp your damage a bit. God, the words on this guy. Or you can get Slimy Amplifier, which increases the number of slime that Glue Apocalypse adds by 2. We got the 3 different avatar heroes up next. I don't know if I want to pay any attention to them, because if you don't have their forge now, you're never going to get it. And then the new guy that just came out, the Dark Mage. Dark Mage is incredibly strong. Early testing has been really good. I got a little sneak preview of him, and I thought he was going to be good, and he might even be better than I thought. The big thing here is his forge and how it interacts with his main weapon's Decay. Decay is how he does all this damage, and this is going to be a big amp to Decay. So you can see here that you have a choice between impacting the effect of Lingering Misery, which is one of his core skills, to either reduce the damage of Horde, or to just amp your damage from Lingering Misery. Next you have Spreading Decay, which increases the size of the aura of Decay, which is like the thing around the Dark Mage that amps Lingering Misery, or Continuous Decay, which is when people get into that aura, they will start taking damage. Again, these are both amps to skills, and so they're going to do a lot of damage. I'm not exactly sure which one is better, but they're both going to be big amps. Book of Collapse starts giving you stuns, which is super strong, and then you can get Quaking Collapse, will cause those stuns to start doing AoE, or Spreading Collapse, which will cause Decay to start shooting 360-degree projectiles of more damage. Both of these are going to be big amps of damage built around Decay and Book of Collapse, so you have to figure out which one is going to do more. They both seem really strong. And there we go. That was a speed run through all the forges for the heroes. The big thing here is that some heroes get tremendous benefits from their 4 and 5-star forges, while others don't. Heroes like Warlord, Monk, Knight really benefit from 4 and 5-star forges, but heroes like Clockwork Mage, Blademaster, and Werebeast don't get the same benefit from those forge levels, and so you can either postpone their forges or just not forge them up at all. But I learned the hard way, whatever you do, don't forge up Sentry Specialist until you have her at 5 stars. And I'm Kolz, a high-level HVH player. You can sign up for my Patreon or become a member on YouTube in order to be entered in monthly drawings for HVH giveaways. You can also become an executive producer. The executive producers of this video are Cake Invictus, Riverwind, The Wubba, Krabs, Charlos, Dustin, Jason, and Lady Ikeia. Thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. Please subscribe if you like the content. And remember, always do your adventures! Nice.